good, y'all? Welcome to my review for Captain America. Sorry guys, y'all know I had it when this movie was retitled New World Order. Y'all know I was making NWO references left and right, man. I'm still kind of annoyed they changed the title because I like that title. But Captain America: Brave New World, man. And yeah, so this movie, man, I'm gonna just come out and say this movie was fucking awesome, man. Like, this was easily one of my favorite installments of Phase 5. I love this movie. Now, I will say, but if I compare this to I would definitely say I like Winter Soldier and Civil War more from comparing this to the previous Captain America movies, man. And even in Phase 5, I definitely would say I liked Deadpool Wolverine more. And you guys, of course, once the video's up, my rating is already up. My ratings are already up down Letterboxd. You guys can go check for yourself. You want my exact ratings on where everything stands, where this movie ranks for both, the MCU in general and Phase 5. Who cares about that? But anyway, man, this movie was fucking awesome, man. Now, the reason why I love this movie, I can't really get into, at least in the spoiler-free discussion, because obviously it gets into spoilers. There's a lot of stuff about the movie that was not shown off in the trailers, like really not much at all, which I think is kind of a good thing, man. There's a lot that we can top of this movie that we will have to top of the spoilers. So the spoiler discussion is definitely probably going to be longer than the actual review itself, if I'm being honest, man. Because there's a lot to talk about, so many cool stuff that I'm glad that was in here, man, and that they tied up. All I will say is that if you, like me, love The Incredible Hulk, if you, like me, consider it one of the most underrated MC movies, along with Iron Man 3, of course, you will love this movie. That is all I'm going to say about that fact. Now, let's just jump right in. So the movie is directed by Julius Onah. I have no idea how to pronounce this dude's last name. And of course stars Harrison Ford, Anthony Mackie, Shira Haas, Danny Ramirez, Harrison Ford, of course, and many more. And the plot of Captain America: Brave New World: Sam finds himself in the middle of an international incident after meeting with President Thaddeus Ross. He must soon discover the reasons behind a nefarious global plot before the true mastermind has the entire world seeing red. I see what Google did there. Now, there's so much I want to talk about this movie, but I have to, not get into spoilers. First of all, man, Harrison Ford and Anthony Mackie in this movie are both fucking brilliant. Especially Harrison Ford. I'm sure a lot of people, not so much myself, we're not expecting much, and I think I was kind of like this a little bit as well. Was not expecting much from Harrison Ford taking over the role of Thunderbolt Ross. As you guys know, the previous actor had passed away a few years ago, so obviously had to recast, which, people got in a whole frenzy about, like, oh, you try to recast him, but you won't recast T'Challa, and, all that shit. And I'm kind of glad that they did, and, everything worked out, because Harrison Ford has, the perfect Hulk face. You know what I mean? Like, when you see him as Red Hulk, he looks like how he does in the comics with the facial structure and everything, man. I don't think with the previous actor, whose name is slipping my mind at the current moment, it would have looked as good, if I'm being honest. So I think it kind of worked out. It worked itself out with Harrison Ford taking over the role of Ross. But man, as I was saying, he is brilliant. I thought a lot. As I mentioned before, I'm pretty sure a lot of people probably thought he was just gonna phone it in or just not really do much, just because it's recast and this and that, and just how Harrison Ford is old now and everything. But my God, did this man show up to work, man? This is easily the best performance of him that we have seen from him since probably Blade Runner, 2047. Which honestly, if you ask me, if I compare both, but now, to be fair, I haven't seen Blade Runner 2047 in many years, but I think he's better in this one than he was in Blade Runner. That might be blasphemy, and someone might want my head on it. Like I said, I have not watched Blade Runner 2047 in many, many years, man. But Jesus H. Christ, is he just brilliant in this film, man? He is so damn good, man. Especially when he's like Red Hulk, man. Oof. That shit was perfect, man. That was incredible, man. Just absolutely fantastic. Anthony Mackie is great as well, man. He really shined in this movie, man. And he was just great, man. The rest of the cast that was great as well. Daniel Ramirez as Joaquin, the new Falcon. I thought he was pretty good. I liked the chemistry between him and Sam, or Anthony, I should say. Both of them are great, man. And the rest of the cast, obviously Giancarlo Esposito is fucking brilliant, as he always is, man. He isn't in the movie much. I will say that. He is not in the movie much. He has I think 3 scenes total. People have theorized if he was like added during the immense reshoots, which it's conflicting. Like I just saw a tweet from I think it was MCU director or whatever, saying a statement from the director saying that they only had 1 round of reshoots, which is normal for any film. And then there's been other reports people saying this one movie went through many reshoots. Man, as you guys know, Seth Rollins was going to be in the movie, man, but he got completely axed from the film. He got completely cut out of the film, and you know, a bunch of other stuff. People have said this movie feels like it's like been stitched together, and you can like tell where the reshoots are. I personally didn't. There was like maybe like 1 or 2 scenes where I'm like, that was probably done in reshoots, where I kind of suspect that might have been part of the reshoots, assuming John Carlino was the entire involvement wasn't part of the reshoots, which it could have been. But, you know, which we'll talk about those scenes in a minute once we get to the spoiler discussion. But yeah, he was great, man. I think the rest of the cast was overall great as well. Especially the guy who plays Isaiah, who you guys may remember from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He was like the first Winter, he was like, not Falcon. Yeah, Falcon Winter, he was from like the first Super Soldier, or like he was like, I forget the exact, what happened, if he was like, got the serum the same time as Steve, or he was after it or before it, man. Then he got like, you know, captured and experimented on, you know, while Cap was doing his thing. He was great in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, man. I thought that was cool what they did with his story. I'm a bro. I don't really remember much because, you know, Falcon and the Winter Soldier was so many years ago. But I really dug him. And he is also fantastic. He is arguably the emotional heart of the film, if I would say, man, because we get a lot of moments where we see him dealing with everything that he's been through and as Sam trying to help him out. And there is a lot of great scenes with him and Anthony. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if there was probably more emotional moments like this in the movie, especially considering some of the other parts of the movie that we might have gotten more in the New World Order cut, the original version of the film before it got reshot to hell, or as I like to call it, the Seth Rollins cut. I just watched that scene, like, at least, you know, when the Blu-ray comes out and this one comes out digital, I don't know how many they're going to give us any deleted scenes when the Blu-ray drops at all, but I'm like, please, at the very least, just release Seth's scenes. I would like to see what Seth Rollins was going to do in the movie, because I was really looking forward when he was announced that he was going to be in there. We saw set photos of him. He looked fantastic. I was really looking forward to seeing him in the movie, and then, you know, the tweet came out that he was cut out of the film. Seth confirmed himself when he was interviewed by Chris Van Vliet on his channel that he was indeed cut from the film, which, you know, sucks. I was really looking forward to it. So as long as if we do get any deleted scenes when they release the Blu-ray and whatnot, man, if we can at least get Seth scenes, I will be a happy man. Like, obviously, I would like to see the original cut of the film, the New World Order cut, and I would be down for a campaign. Like, hell yeah, man, what's the original cut? I would like to see what it was originally going to be before they did so many reshoots. But either way, man, he was great, man, and I kind of wish they did more with him, and we got more, which, like I said, that could have been in the original cut. They might have had more scenes. They were like, cut it, more comedy, cut it. You know, we'll have to wait and see on that, man, but he was great, man. I think the rest of the cast was great as well. Now, the action in this movie, man, is fucking amazing. Like, the hand-to-hand choreography, I think, is fine. It's nothing really that mind-blowing. You could probably argue that Winter Soldier and Civil War probably have better hand-to-hand choreography. But when we get to, like, the big action, especially when they bring up the IMAX camera, which, man, it was so good. This movie looks fucking brilliant in IMAX, which I also gotta say, man, if you guys do, I mentioned this on my Twitter and my Instagram, if you guys follow me there. But I saw it at the AMC here, at the AMC in Woodbridge, man, which I mentioned in those tweets that was actually the same theater I went to go see Winter Soldier in many, many years ago, back in, like, what, 2014 that was, man? 2013, I think it was. Which, you know, funny story with that, my mom literally said, hey, you want us to go see Winter Soldier? Like, she asked me, like, on a whim in the middle of the week, and we were like, okay. And we went to go see it in IMAX, man. It was, what a banger film, man. So it was nice to return to the theater, man, go back to that same IMAX screening that was there, which I also got to say, man, the one thing that was really cool about this movie is that they actually had the whole usual IMAX countdown thing. They changed it to, like, tie in with the Fantastic Four, which I thought was really cool, and I really like what they did with it, man. And I got to see the Superman trailer on IMAX fully, and I was right. They definitely did change some footage, like certain scenes that were in the original trailer were swapped with other footage in the IMAX trailer. I don't know why they felt the need to, like, have 2 separate trailers where they switch out the footage for like the YouTube version, then the IMAX one gets some new, never before seen footage. I don't know why, but compelled them to do that. But the movie looks incredible in IMAX, man, and Captain America: Brave New World looks amazing. Honestly, man, I didn't see the movie. I didn't see the movie in 3D or nothing, but I obviously, like, they had, like, a trailer that, like, was like one of those, like, fake 3Ds to kind of give you a glimpse of what the movie would look like in 3D. And honestly, after watching the movie, man, I think this movie would look great. Probably would look great in 3D. So if you guys can get the chance to watch this movie in IMAX 3D, go watch it in IMAX 3D or Real Deal 3D, because I think this movie would look would probably look very good in 3D. I noticed that when I was watching it, I was like, damn, this would actually look really good in 3D with some of these scenes, man. So if you guys get the chance to see it in 3D, take it. It's really fucking good. I think this movie would look amazing in 3D. But anyway, as I was saying, when we get to the massive action set piece that were probably completely, CGI with like Falcon, with Cap, with Sam and Falcon, over on the Indian Ocean with the Celestial, and then of course the big one with Cap and Red Hulk, man. They both look great. So honestly, this is probably some of the best VFX work Marvel has put out in quite some time, honestly, man. Which it's just a great, like the VFX artists, man, that worked on these two sequels, man. Shout out to them, man. They cooked. These were some of my favorite action set pieces in all of Marvel, if I'm being honest, man. In all of Marvel, man. In the MCU, man. These ones were incredible, man. I love these scenes. Especially when you got to see them in IMAX, man. Forget about, man. They look fucking brilliant, man. This really looked amazing in IMAX. But anyway, as I was saying, the music is pretty good from the bit. I didn't really hear much of it when I was actually waiting for the post-credits scene to play, which there's only one post-credits, and it's literally at the end of the credits. Like, there is no mid-credits scene, it's just a post-credits, a literal post-credits scene like it was back in like Phase 1, which was definitely a surprise, man, because usually, we usually get both, but we only get one this time, man, and got me excited, man. Got me excited for Avengers Doomsday, which I'm either that or setting it for Secret Wars. Either way, I'm excited. Or maybe just a Fantastic Four movie in general, because that's going to be like in a separate universe and everything, man. We'll talk about that when we get to the spoiler discussion. Either way, it was hyped. It got me hyped. So yeah, the music when we heard the end credits, man, was really good. I mean, I liked the score they had for the film, for at least when I heard it from there. And I also got to say, the cinematography of this movie is actually shockingly good. Like, I'm not gonna come out here and tell you like this is the best shot Marvel movie of the time. No, that honor goes to like Guardians 3 and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. It didn't look that good. This isn't rivaling the Batman or the Dune movies. But for a Marvel movie, this is definitely one of the better shots. There are some really good shots in here, man. Some really good directing here with certain sequences, which we'll talk about in the spoiler discussion. Once again, I really hyped up the spoiler discussion. There's just so much about this one that I want to talk about that we have to, save for spoilers. Anyway, guys, there's a lot of really good shots. There's this one shot which I love the lighting of, where between Isaiah and Sam, when they're like talking in like the prison cell when they're talking when he's in a prison, and I love the lighting there where like the shadows are placed in favor. It looked really good. There's another really great, really well directed sequence with some Dutch angles with Harrison Ford when he's like trying not to turn into Red Hulk before we get down to the big one where he does turn into Red Hulk. Man, that sequence was really well directed. Harrison Ford gave an amazing performance there, man. That sequence was, and there's also some really good shots of the main villain, which we'll obviously save for the spoilers discussion. But who did I love the way they revealed the man? They cooked with that. They cooked. Like I said, man, this movie, I feel like I could definitely give some credit. There probably were a shit ton of reshoots with this movie, and I would like to see what the New World Order cut of this film was going to be before it got reshot and everything, man. But honestly, I'm satisfied with the film we got. But honestly, I would hope we get some deleted scenes when the Blu-ray drops, man. I just want set scenes. If all I get Seth Rollins scenes, I'll be happy. But the cinematography is really good, man. Shockingly good. I was kind of surprised how well shot this movie was, considering, Marvel movies are usually kind of dull. But there were some really nice shots here, man. And of course, the cherry blossom sequence with Red Hulk, man, looks phenomenal as well. As far as, I think that's about all the positives I can get into without obviously getting into major spoilers. But one of the main problems I did have is, one, obviously, Seth Rollins' scenes getting cut out, man. I wish they kept them in there, man, because I would love to see what he did in the film. But also, there were definitely times where you can definitely feel like there were, the reshoots. One scene in particular that we'll get in spoilers, definitely felt like it was part of the reshoots, where they added a comedy bit to a serious moment that I think was really done. And I thought that was probably one of the things that they did whenever they did test screens. Like, oh, we need more comedy, put a joke here. I mean, it's funny, it got chuckle out of me, but, it definitely was not needed, and I felt like that was probably one of the things that was added in the reshoots, man. And I feel like there was also, I kind of wish, like I said, mentioned before, I wish Isaiah had a much bigger role, because there's so many great scenes with him, man. I feel like he was almost the emotional heart of the film. And like I said, maybe there are more scenes of him, that was in the original cut of the film before it got reshot to hell. Who knows? Maybe not. Maybe this was everything that they had shot, and this was it, man. Or maybe there's more. We don't know. But I do wish we got more scenes, because his sequences, man, were always some of my favorite parts of the film, man. They did such a good job in it. And I love what they did with Thunderbolts Ross, and how they kind of humanized him a lot more than we saw of him in Incredible Hulk, in, Civil War, and whatever movies he appeared in. I liked what they did with him, man. I really like what they did with him. Like I said, Harrison Ford does an incredible job playing him. Now, give you guys my final verdict, and then we'll get into spoilers discussion, so leave now or forever hold your peace, I guess. Or, enjoy the ride, man. So obviously, my final verdict of this film is a 10 out of fucking 10, man. This movie is incredible, man. I fucking loved it. This, honestly, was better than I was hoping, because you guys know this was like number 2 or number 3 on my top 10 most anticipated movies list, man. I was really hyped for this movie, man, and it did not disappoint, man. It was better than I was expecting, man. And I was just happy. Like, that we finally got some closure and we finally followed up on some plot points from older films. Like I mentioned before, I won't get into giving spoilers. But, yeah, this film was fucking awesome. Anyway, guys, we will now get into spoilers, so if you guys do not want to get spoiled, leave. Now, the big thing is that this is basically an Incredible Hulk 2. That is the big thing, where we finally learn what happened with Mr. Blue. They finally finish up and tie the loose end of Mr. Blue. We know that the movie set up at the end of it, man, with him turning into whatever that Hulk villain is called. I don't think he's ever called by that in the movie. If he did, I forgot. But I'll just call him Mr. Blue. Samuel Stern's Mr. Blue. Where the gamma radiation starts hitting his brain, and we see his brain mutating, and then the movie, and then they never followed up on that, afterwards, man. They just kind of left it in there along with Thunderbolts Ross until, like, he randomly comes back in, like, Civil War, and it's like, oh, hey, man, good to see you again. And maybe we'll see more of him in Thunderbolts as well, because, it's called Thunderbolts, so we'll have to wait and see on that, how that ties in, because I'm curious, with the movie ending with him in prison inside the raft, I am curious how this is going to tie in with Thunderbolts. I'm assuming the chip that, that is running the Suicide Squad is probably working with Thunderbolt, and that's how they come with the name of the Thunderbolts. I don't know. We'll have to wait until the movie comes out to know for certain. But anyway, I love that we saw him, and I love the way they reveal him, and his design looks amazing. I don't know if that was mostly CG, or they actually did mostly practical effects, making like his skull merging in with his brain. Either way, man, whether it was like CGI, practically done with makeup, or a mixture of both, it looked different. And I love how for like the good first chunk of the movie, man, for like the first half of it, they do not show his face. We just see his eye. He's caked in his, like, the top half of his face is in shadows. You can see his green eyes piercing there. Oh my god, those shots look so fucking good, man. He'll be done when it's finally revealed, man. He looks amazing. I love his design, man. I don't read Hulk comics, so I cannot comment on the accuracy of his design or his characterization, because I don't read Hulk comics outside of Donny Cates' run. But from an MCU fan that's been dying that's been wanting to see some closure on this since 2008, I'm happy that we finally got it, man. He looked absolutely incredible. And one other thing I love about this movie is how they humanize Thunderbolt Ross, because they really go in with the whole thing with Betty, about him cutting him out of her life after what he did with Bruce at the end of the Incredible Hulk, man. Obviously, chasing after him and everything, man, hunting him down. We really get to see how much that has hurt him, and we really try to see him when he's trying to rekindle with his daughter. We get this amazing sequence where we hear Betty over the phone when he calls her, trying to reconcile with his daughter and ask her, like, hey, you want to go on a walk like we used to as kids. And I thought it was actually kind of cool that in the movie we do get to see scenes where he does have the mustache, so he's like freaking out, man, as Harrison Ford with the mustache, man, which looked pretty cool, man. And we also see another scene where during that talking scene with his daughter, and where we actually see like a photo when he was younger with when Betty was a kid, where it is Harrison Ford with the mustache. Thought that was interesting. They went that direction. I was kind of wondering maybe they would use the original actor and then but I guess that wouldn't make sense in continuity if they use they Photoshop the old actor onto that photo when he's dead now instead of using Harrison. But I thought it was interesting. It was kind of cool. He looked good with the mustache too. I will have to say, man, he looked really good. But I liked how they go into that with them humanizing him and trying to reconcile with his daughter. And then we get like one of my favorite parts of the movie, man, where we actually get to see Betty again. Finally, after so many years was here. Not gonna lie, she looked a little bit weird in the movie, like her face looked a little bit, I don't know if they tried de-aging her, if she just got old, and like that's just how she looks now, if she's got plastic surgery or something, I don't know, I don't want to make any assumptions or make any conspiracy, but like, she looked weird. I don't know if they tried to de-age her a bit, and they just kind of, and this was like added in the reshoots and they had to rush it, or, what, but her face definitely looked a little bit off compared to when we saw her. Well, then again, that was movie released in 2008, so, people get old. But, I thought her face looked a little weird, man, but I didn't care, man. It was just good to finally see Betty again. After she had, one mention in the Avengers movie, and then was never heard from again. I'm glad that they finally brought her back, and we got to see this. And I'm assuming it's the same actress. It sounded like her. It looked like her a little bit. Like I said, her face did look a little off. But I was just glad that she was back, man. It was so good, and we get a really nice moment between her and Thunderbolt Ross. And I thought that was a really touching moment. I love that scene, man. And the sequence when Mr. Blue is in his ear, kind of telling like, "Come on, release the Hulk," and while they're at the Indian Ocean, he's in the submarine, and like Thunderbolt's trying to fight the gamma radiation, turning into the Red Hulk. That whole sequence, man, was once again, like I said, beautifully directed. I thought they did a really excellent job directing the sequence, and I really liked how the Harrison Ford's acting there, man. His acting in that scene, man, was incredible. Like, he was like easily one of the best parts, man. He is so fucking like, I'm not gonna go here and say like he should be nominated for best supporting actor. Nothing. Like, his performance wasn't that good, but it was really good. It was definitely way better than I think most was expecting Harrison Ford to do in this film, man. I love what they did. I love what they did with Thunderbolts Ross and how much they humanized him and just really focused on him and see and how much the events of the Incredible Hulk with his daughter has really affected him. They did such an amazing job with that, man. Another really great scene is a scene like right during the fight near the end when they're like by the cherry blossoms where Sam uses his talk no jutsu on him, which I don't know if like the writers for this movie were in cahoots with the What If writers for season 3, but it did play out similar to in What If season 3 when Sam, I think it was like the Gundam episode of What If season 3 where he used the talk no jutsu on Bruce to, you know, get him to calm down when he like regains, when he becomes the Hulk and to get away or like move or have his Hulk minions stop attacking people or whatever. It felt very similar to that. I was just wondering like if there was like if this is just one massive coincidence or if like the writers are in cahoots or some of the writers for What If season 3 also wrote this movie or something. But that's all I know. But that was also another amazing scene. And like I mentioned before, there are so many scenes in this movie that have, not so many, but there are a bunch of scenes in here that have so much emotional, just like depth to them, so much emotional impact to them, man, while other scenes don't really carry that same feel to it that have, it makes me think that once again, like a good chunk of it was probably reshot, and like these are scenes where they really focus on the emotional bits, like when we get to see what happens with Isaiah and Sam when he's like trying to tell him about like, he's like, I'm not going back into solitaire, I'm not going back in a box, when Sam tries to like is rushing after him after he tries to kill the president, man, which we saw bits of that in the trailer, but now we found the whole thing with Mr. Blue, where he was like mind controlling people, using like flashing lights and mind control people to do his bidding to take out Thunderbolt Ross. And you know, he's like, I don't know what I'm doing here. There are so many scenes with so much emotional depth to them that does make me wonder how other scenes don't really, in the rest of the movie, doesn't really carry that same feel to it, that same way to it. Does make me feel like that probably a good chunk of the movie was probably reshot and made a bit more lighthearted, a bit more comedic, I guess you could say, and not so much with the emotional depth to it that compared to like how Civil War was and Winter Soldier was, which were definitely way more serious, more emotional films with Bucky, with Steve realizing Bucky was still alive, everything with Tony and Cap and Bucky in Civil War, man. There are parts where you think that the movie was originally supposed to be in that direction, but the reshoots kind of made it go in a different direction to be more comedic and not as serious, man, while still keeping the bits of these moments because they were probably like too important to the film for they could cut them out. But yeah, or like this could be all one massive conspiracy theories. Who the fuck knows? But I really like what they did with the emotional depth of those scenes. Like I said, Isaiah was really good, man. I wish we got more scenes with him, man. And it was just like, nice to see Mr. Blue again. Finally get to see him, and then finally tie loose ends with him. I love the bit where he were like inside his lair and he like reveals his plans to Sam and everyone, man. That sequence was really fucking cool, man. I love the running joke in the movie where he says like, I should have taken the serum. That was pretty fun. The handful of times they use it, man. Although I will say like one scene where I'm like, I'm almost certain this was part of the reshoot, man, was Bucky's cameo, where we find out first of all the dude's a congressman, or he's like running for Congress, which I'm curious how this is going to tie in with Thunderbolts, considering that's like never mentioned in any of the trailers that he is running for Congress. I don't know if Thunderbolts takes place before Captain America Brave New World, that's why he's in there, man, not in Congress, because like the movie feels like it just like, from the trailers anyway, it looks like it's just Bucky's just, you know, chilling around, just really not doing much of anything before he gets the call to join the Thunderbolts. But knowing he's a congressman in this movie, he's running for Congress in this movie, makes me wonder, like, how this will tie in with Thunderbolts when that movie drops. But anyway, we get this really nice sequence where after Joaquin is like injured in battle during the battle at the in the Indian Ocean over the Celestial, man, which we also, like I mentioned, it was mentioned in trailers of this when we first get our first announcement or look at Adamantium, our first mention of it, man. So obviously X-Men, you know, Wolverine, all that jazz, man. Looking forward to whenever the X-Men get introduced. But we get a scene where Buck, whereas he's like in surgery, man, they're working on him. Bucky shows in there, man, kind of like gives him a little pep talk, tells him like you were worthy of Cap getting the shield and everything, man. He gives this really nice nice beat, and then right after he's like, so how's that ending, right? You like the look, I'm not gonna lie, it did get a chuckle at me, it was kind of funny, but that felt like that was definitely added in the research, man. Like, they thought, oh, this movie's too, this moment is too serious, add a joke, you know, we gotta add a joke at the end of it, man. Wait, so like, that scene, that, like, if there was one scene that I would bet on my life that was in the research, it would definitely be that line, that joke before Bucky leaves, man. And like I said, I'm curious to see how this will tie into Thunderbolts with him being a congressman running for Congress, because like I said, the trailers for Thunderbolts never mention it, so it makes me kind of wonder how that's going to work for the movie. But anyway, another thing that I really like, this also shows how good Harrison Ford movie is, when we start to find out why that he's like, you know, that Mr. Blue has been working on him, and that he's fused his blood with gamma radiation with the pills because of his heart. His heart is dying on him, man, and he didn't know what was wrong with him. And these pills that Mr. Blue gave him, which are laced with gamma radiation, have managed to keep him alive. I really like the scene where Sam's just like keeps pressing him like what the real reason is and why he's working with him and why he hasn't like, you know, got rid of him or anything, man. The pills and everything, man. And that was a whole good scene where he says that because he mentions he's dying and it's his heart. That was another really great, like, there's so many scenes where we see like really where there's so much emotional depth to them and weight to them. It just makes you wonder, like other scenes, and the rest of it doesn't really follow that same path. It does make me wonder that probably a good chunk of the movie was probably Sean Reed. So sorry I keep repeating myself, but like I definitely got that nagging feeling while I was watching the film at parts. I will also mention as well, I forgot to mention this in the spoiler-free part of the review, man. But I will admit, while I did like the dynamic between Joaquin and Sam, I'm gonna be real, the dude's mid. The dude's mid as hell, man. Like, there really isn't much depth to him, man. Falcon and Winter Soldier, I don't think did it much better, man. He's a cool character, he's fine, you know, but there's really nothing to the guy, and I don't really find him that particularly interesting. I don't know if we might get more, it might make me care about him, but like, so far, I'm real. I thought he was kind of mid, man. And as far as the characters go, man, he's probably one of my least favorite characters, or at least one of the least interesting characters in the film, because we don't really see much of him, man. So I will admit that one. I forgot to mention earlier that he was kind of mid, I'm not gonna lie. And I will also say one other thing about Red Hulk suits, which like I said was fucking brilliant, man. I love the transformation and everything, man. I do thought it was funny that even though that after transformer they still fucking Secret Service still shoots at him. Like, you would think by now they would know that the Hulk is bulletproof. So I thought it was kind of funny that they're still like shooting at him like that's gonna do anything to him. Like, I feel like by now they would have known that the Hulk is Hulks are bulletproof. So I don't know why they're even wasting the ammunition to try to shoot him when it does literally nothing, man. But I also love the scene where he's like jumping around on top of the White House, man, throwing shit at helicopters, man, uses the American flag on there as a weapon. So many bad. And I also like how Sam's wings are made out of vibranium now, man, which leads to some really sick shots. Which they even have like the kinetic energy thing where it stores the kinetic energy like Black Panther's suit does, which I thought was a nice touch there, man. That they gave him, the Wakandans gave him vibranium wings. They looked really cool, man. Also, I forgot to mention this as well. I don't think I mentioned this in my reactions. The new suit, I honestly prefer the look of the old suit from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The new suit is fine, but I'd definitely say the suit from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, man, looked way better with the white, man. This one kind of looked a bit more basic looking for a Captain America costume, man. The white one from Falcon Winter definitely gave it a bit more, style to it, but it's fine for what it is. And so yeah, let's get into the spoiler discussion, and then I'll end the video off because I've rambled on about this movie enough. Anyway, so yeah. The movie off with the post-credit scene, man, where Sam visits Mr. Blue in the Wrath, where he basically just, you know, mentions and teases of more looming threats coming from the multiverse, man. Obviously setting up for Doomsday and Secret Wars. So obviously, when I was hearing man talk about like, or maybe like the Fantastic Four. Either way, man, I'm excited, man. When he was like kind of talking about like more looming threats, he's seen the probabilities of other threats coming, you know, to take him down and whatnot. And I'm so excited for Secret Wars, man. Doomsday, I'm also curious to see how that's going to turn out, man. But yeah, I also thought it was interesting, speaking of Secret Wars and Doomsday, that I think this was in the trailers as well. They did that Thunderbolt does ask him to restart the Avengers, and I am curious to see where that's going to go. Because in the movie, he doesn't end obviously with him saying yes, and Ross is in prison now inside the Raft. So I am curious to see what that's going to lead to. I think it will lead to Sam reforming the Avengers, which I will say. I think Anthony Mackie, like I mentioned before, Anthony Mackie shines in this movie, man, and I definitely think he has proven that he is more than capable to being a leading man and taking over the mantle of Captain America. He shines this movie, man, and he has definitely proven himself to be the leading man and to, you know, take over the mantle of Captain America. He is so fucking good in this movie, man. Seriously. So I'm looking forward to where that's going. Obviously, it's probably going to get Carol. We're probably going to see Shang-Chi, Doctor Strange, and probably a few others, Spidey as well. Hopefully Daredevil. We can see the Defenders join up with the Avengers to take down Doctor Doom and see them in Secret Wars, man. But I'm excited to see where that's going to go, man. We're going to see like Sam pop up in some other MCU project where he tries to recruit people into the Avengers for Doomsday and Secret Wars. But we'll have to wait and see on that, ladies and gentlemen. Either way, I'm excited, man. It was so good, man. Honestly, you guys know I mentioned this countless times, The Incredible Hulk. One of my favorite MCU movies, man. One of the most underrated, arguably the most underrated MCU movie out there, along with Iron Man 3. So I'm just glad that we finally got a sequel to it in some ways, and we finally tied up all the loose ends from that movie that seemingly have just been forgotten to time, man. So, Live Ventures 4, the start of the review, man. If you love The Incredible Hulk, man, you are going to love this movie. But anyway, guys, I have rambled on long enough about this movie. Anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like if you did, subscribe if you're new. Follow me on social if you feel like it. Links, subscribe below. And as always, come back for more. See you guys next time.